Hey guys, I'm going to show you how I book a trip to Europe, starting with Madrid, and then including those cheap flights. So first of all, I'm going to look for the main train station in Madrid, and it shows that that's Atocha. So I'm going to go ahead and look in Google Maps, see where it's at, what it looks like around it. So once I get to Expedia, I know what hotels to look at because I want to stay near the train station so I can take trains and buses all around the country. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to Kayak, and I'm going to put in Madrid, and I'm going to look for those green dates that I was telling you guys about in Kayak. So looking for green, you don't want yellow. So August and July are out of the question. September looks pretty good. October's pretty good. November is good too, but that's probably going to be pretty cold. So I'm going to stick with September. The 13th and the 20th look pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and click on those. And then you also want to make sure you're doing flex dates, unless you have to do exact dates. But flex dates will give you the cheapest flights. And you could do anywhere from like 3 days all the way up to like 14 days. So looking here, I'm not a big fan of like Iberia and stuff like that. So I'm trying to find American or British Airways are my two favorites. So looks like right now it's American. Let's see what else pops up. It's taking a minute to think. Okay, there we go. So we have Iberia, not a fan. Let's see. Turkish, not a fan, but that's really cheap if you'd like Turkish. That's a long flight, 31 hours. There's some British Airways, perfect. 9/11 to 23, that looks good. And 9/11 to 22. So I love nonstops, British Airways, that's perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take that to Expedia. And so I'm gonna go Expedia and I'm gonna go scroll down to September, and I'm going to put in those dates, the 11th through the 22nd. I prefer Thursday over Friday because it's usually cheaper. So I'm double checking those dates real quick. And so when you click on travelers, if you do have a young infant under 2, you can put them on a lap. Although if you are traveling cross country, I do recommend, to another country, I do recommend getting a seat for that baby so they can sleep in the car seat. So now it's just thinking. So when I do look at hotels, I want to make sure there's Wi-Fi. So that's one of the things I'm going to look at if I'm traveling cross country or to another country, because I want to make sure there's buses and trains that I can travel to other cities. So for instance, I'm in Madrid. I'm going to take a train to Barcelona, to Valencia, maybe take a flight over to Ibiza. So I want to make sure I'm like right in the middle of everything. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and filter, make sure I'm in the Atocha area because I want to be near that train station. You can also filter other things as well. I'm just showing you all the things you can filter. And then I'm going to go ahead and filter by Atocha because that's the area I want to be in. And I'm just going to go straight to maps after this because I want to see the hotels that are in that area. And I'm just going to pick a quick one. Obviously, take your time. Make sure you're in a hotel you want to pick. I try to do a 2-star to 3-star hotel when I'm traveling. Nothing fancy because all you're doing is sleep in there. I just want to make sure there's Wi-Fi and AC. If you have a baby, you also might want to make sure you can wash the bottles in some sort of sink. But I'm just going to go ahead and pick a cheap, nice one that I see. And so this one looks good. So it's a 2.5 star. That's not bad. The rooms look okay. It doesn't look like they serve breakfast, but that's fine. You want to save your big meals for lunch and dinner anyway when you're traveling abroad, because especially in Spain, you want to eat those tapas. They're so good. So this one looks pretty good. Bathroom looks great, especially for Spain. The bathrooms in Spain, the showers are so small. And it has Wi-Fi. That's the biggest thing. I need Wi-Fi. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reserve it. Now for picking the flights, I'm going to go ahead and try and get those British Airways flights that I had seen before in Kayak. It is taking a while to think. While it's thinking, I do recommend non-stops if you're going to another country because it's less likely that you will lose your baggage. So I'm going to go ahead and pay this extra $6 for British Airways. If you like American, that's fine. You can take American, but I've had less issues with British Airways. And then again, I'm going to click the same nonstop, come back. So you end up getting the entire trip for less than $3,000, which is really good for a trip to Europe. I've gotten them as cheap as $1,200 before, but that was about 5 years ago, so prices have gone up since then with inflation. But yeah, so here you go, an entire trip to Europe, Madrid, flights and everything for $3,000.